impact of reputation.
Yes.
I heard Colin Powell speak some years ago about the absence of shame in our culture.
Yes.
Could you comment upon the possibility of reintroducing shame?
Oh, yes. I think shame and embarrassment, are the gravity of our social world. I think shame and embarrassment are extremely powerful and important emotions. We evolved to live in small groups in which your reputation was life or death. I think it's a bad thing when shame goes away. On the left, there's a lot of opposition to shame, punishment, a lot of these negative, ugly sorts of emotions. And there is actually some research suggesting that shame-based punishments don't work as well as others. So it's not that this is a crazy idea. But this is an idea very much embraced by conservatives who think shame's a good emotion, a powerful emotion. Conservative judges use shame-based punishments, like instead of jail, wear a sign. Liberals have a lot of trouble with shame. So in part, it's an empirical question as to whether shame actually works to solve problems. In some situations it does, some it doesn't. But I personally, I'm a really big fan of embarrassment and of basically just the concern that people are watching you. And I'm a tentative fan of shame as a moral emotion. I think it's important. So here's an example. So at the University of Virginia, we have an honor culture. We have an honor system. And we have an honor code. And if you cheat, lie, or steal, and your peers find you guilty, you are expelled. There's a single sanction. That's the only punishment that we allow. But, and you can imagine this coming out of it was the 1840s, Virginia aristocratic society. Everybody knew everybody. Everybody's family was related to everybody else's family. Reputation was your life or death. Well, now we have incredible diversity. That's good in many ways, but what it means is that nobody's parents know anybody. You have what happens to you doesn't matter. There's no reputation at stake. And if you are caught cheating, everything is secret. Nobody will ever know. If you are found guilty, you're told to leave UVA, and the university will actually help you get into another school. There's no shame. I mean, why should shame is bad? This isn't punishment. That would be bad. Exactly. So it's true that honor codes bring down cheating a little bit, but my argument since I've been at UVA was, you guys are insane. You're giving up almost every possible moral mechanism that you could have, and you're creating this situation where the restraints on cheating are minimal, and there is cheating, and you're almost guaranteed to get away with it because nobody's watching. I mean, the professors weren't even supposed to monitor them. So, yeah, shame is really important, and we give it up at our peril.
Yeah, I thought your talk was fascinating. Do you have any recommended readings on constrained parochialism?
On constrained parochialism? Yes, absolutely. Start with Thomas Sowell's book, A Conflict of Visions. And then there are some science articles by, I think I had the names up there. I'd be happy to make this available through the website.
Well, we'll put it on the website.
Yeah,
so we'll get
but basically by Ernst Fair and Sam Bowles, there's some research on that. Also, my next book, when it comes out in January, will have a whole chapter on hive psychology, parochialism, how we evolved to merge with groups. So, is the elephant different in liberals and conservatives? I think the short answer is yes. If we look at, if we say that the elephant is all the automatic habitual responses, personality traits can be divided up into several categories. One scheme I love by the psychologist Dan McAdams says there's like these level 1 basic dispositional traits. And then level 2 is like more complicated reaction patterns, defense mechanisms. But the level 1 traits include things like the big 5 personality constructs, and so especially openness to experience is higher in liberals. So if you take fraternal twins born in a conservative rural area, and one is born very high in openness to experience and very low on threat sensitivity, and the other is the opposite. These are identical twin girls, not identical, fraternal twin girls, let's say. They raised in the same environment. The one who sees something new and says, wow, that's something I haven't seen before, that kid is going to want to get the hell out of that town and go to college in the city and is going to end up being a Democrat. And the one who says, what's that? I've never seen that before. What's that? So there's a lot of research showing that threat sensitivity is higher in people. Even there's one study published in Science. They did a white noise. You burst a white noise, and you look at peripheral physiological response. People who are conservative have a bigger response. They're more threat sensitive. That's the elephant.
Jonathan, would you say within outside the United States that this same 5 groups exist
Yes. So this theory, I developed the theory originally with Craig Joseph and some other colleagues. We developed it originally for work, cross-cultural work. I did some research in India and Brazil, and I worked with Richard Schwader, an anthropologist, and my goal was to understand, especially East-West differences. And when I did this in the 90s, and the culture war was going strong, and then we discovered, wow, this really works well for the religious right versus the secular left. So its origin was not in America. Its origin was based on anthropological work. And secondly, the research we do on your morals, we've looked at all the different countries, and we find the same pattern. People who self-declare as liberal or versus conservative, we explain it left, right in other countries. Even in East Asia, we get the same patterns.
My point is, though, that in fact what you're probably describing then is a genetic definition that translates into these subgroups.
Well, I would say yes, as long as you take a developmental perspective in which you start with the genes. The genes make brains in utero, and that's a developmental process that can be affected by hormone levels and other things. And then a kid's born with a brain, and that kid is exposed to different experiences. So that could make the kid even more threat sensitive and fearful if she's raised in a very threatening environment. So I would say yes, as long as you recognize there's a huge gap between genes and eventual political orientation.
But if you look at the spread, percentage-wise of what you define as the liberal versus the conservative, it still falls out pretty close to the same percentages, doesn't it?
You mean across cultures?
Uh-huh.
No. There are... so personality traits and temperament, the big five, that stuff I think is pretty similar. But in some countries, in some eras, I mean, just look at America. In the 1940s and 50s, even when Eisenhower was president, in the intellectual environment, everybody just thought, well, conservatism is dead. Everybody is a liberal. They're just different kinds of liberals. And I'd have to explain that more. What I'm saying is that even just you look at our own history in the last 50 years, there have been big swings in the percentage we identify. Well, not so much in the last 20 years, as I showed you, but there are big swings. So I would say that the self-identifications can certainly change. And the self-identifications in America, I mean, Europeans think that we're insanely conservative. There aren't that many. The conservative blocs tend not to be as big, although, well. So I'm not sure what did I not answer anything?
No, but that's okay.
Okay.
I'm used to that.
Okay, okay. Wait, I'm sorry. She had a question back there? Okay.
Hello? Hi.
Yes, hi.
Fascinating talk. I was very intrigued by the concept of parochial altruism, and to me it sounds a lot like the principle of subsidiarity, and I was wondering
like what?
if you
I'm
could...
sorry, what ethnic?
The principle of subsidiarity.
Subsidiarity. Okay, I don't know that term, but I can guess what it means. Okay.
Okay. I think it means that the smallest group has the immediate need to take care of the smallest group. That's my...
Yes, okay, good. I like that.
And so,
Exactly.
so I wanted to know if you could differentiate those, or are they similar, or how are they different?
Oh, I think. Okay, so this woman is saying that there's a principle of subsidiarity in what discipline? What's your field?
I'm in
Sociology?
the biomedical sciences.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I would say that in general, the family is the best unit ever devised for caring for children, and those societies like Israeli kibbutzim that tried to do something different failed. Because I have 2 young kids, and the amount of work is unbelievable, and the sacrifices that it takes you away from your work are unbelievable. And if these weren't my kids that I was raising, and again, adoption can work fine because it activates the same stuff. But my point is, if you want to get a lot of work out of people and invest in others, man, is the family important, and man, is a 2-parent family important. It doesn't have to be heterosexual, but I think liberals have been really making a big mistake in saying that marriage isn't important because they're afraid to discriminate against gay people, and also in African American society, marriage rates are lower, and oh my God, we can't defend those 2 constituencies, so marriage isn't important. No. What we should be saying is marriage is incredibly important. Open it up to gay people, but man, we should make it really unappealing to anyone to have kids without 2 parents committed to those kids. So yes, I strongly believe in this principle of subsidiarity.
I think that's all the time for questions we have. I think we'll be here for just a couple minutes, and unfortunately we're out of time. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for your attention. Yeah.